Alrighty, I'm going to answer the question of how to make caramel sauce. Now, this is caramel sauce that you use to serve warm. This isn't a cold caramel sauce. Now, I've heard people talk about melting down little caramel chewy candies and using that too, and I'm sure that's good. But I'm going to show you the caramel sauce that I've been using for about 35 years that you can reheat and served hot and put it away and bring it back out and use it for dipping things. And I'm going to put some on some bread pudding. That's the reason I'm making this particular video today, because I need it for a bread pudding recipe. But it's really easy to make, can be destroyed if you're not careful, all right? Now, what you need to do is have the three ingredients that you need: sugar, butter, cream. As if to suggest that this is low calorie, which it is not. But it is good, okay? Great for Halloween stuff, by the way. Dipping apple slices in and things like that. So the whole process here, it's called caramel sauce. Now, why is it called caramel sauce? It's called caramel sauce because you're going to caramelize something. That's why it's caramel sauce, okay? So we're going to start by putting some whole unsalted butter into a saucepan. In this case, I have a 4-ounce stick, and I'm going to put 1.25 cups of granulated sugar on top of that, okay? Now, you saw how I indiscriminately put the sugar on, and I said 1.25 cups. The reason why I did that is because I'm going to show you how to make the sauce. That would include making any adjustments, because sometimes the type of pan you may be cooking it in or the level of temperature that you have on the burner may affect how you might need to adjust the sauce. Sometimes you'll add a pinch of butter to it if it doesn't seem like it's cooking the way you want, or you'll add 2 or 3 more tablespoons of sugar in it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and I'm going to put it on a burner. I'm going to put it on a burner right now. And I have it on low on a scale of 1 to 7, which is what the dial on this particular stove is. I put it on a 2, okay? Now, it's going to melt the butter, and it's going to melt the sugar, and I'm going to bring you right over and into that pot when it's time to actually finish this sauce. But the process quickly is the sugar and the butter will melt together, and they will brown and become bubbly. And we will be careful throughout that process not to mix this, because we don't want any of the brown sugar discoloring the sugar that hasn't been browned yet. You could lose touch with how much it's actually caramelized. And if you don't let it caramelize, and not scorch, of course, then if you don't get it completely caramelized before we add the whipped cream, which we're going to whisk the cold cream into the caramelized butter and sugar, if you don't allow that sugar to caramelize to the extent at which it needs to, you will end up with granulated, grainy sugar in the sauce, and that's not going to work. So you have to caramelize it slowly. This is a sauce that requires patience. And of course, if it scorches because you get distracted or called away during this process, you'll have to clean the pot out and start over, because once it's scorched, it will have that burnt sugar taste. So we're going to let this cook together, let the butter melt all on its own. I'm not going to go over there and start mixing it up or anything. Let it all get melted in and start cooking a little bit slow. And then I'll bring you and the camera right into the inside of that pot, and we will finish it together. Okay, so I'll be back 10 minutes, 8 minutes, 12 minutes right now. All right, I'm going to bring you into this caramel sauce here into stages. Now, it's not ready to be finished with the cream, but I want to show you what it looks like now. It's like halfway cooked. It's been about 7 or 8 or 9 minutes since we originally put this on the stove a minute ago. So if you can come down and take a peek in there, which I have not stirred this with a whisk or anything like that, but you see it looks like it's kind of greasy, separated sugar and butter. And that's what it should be looking at now. And at this stage right now, if you were going to make an adjustment, if you thought it was too wet, and you'll only know this after you make it 2 or 3 times, if you think it looks a little like there's too much butter, you'll add a little sugar to it now while there's still time for it to caramelize. Or if it looks too dry and it doesn't look like it could even bubble because you don't have enough butter, then you'll add a little more butter to it at this point. Neither is the case. I somehow got lucky on my judgment of how much sugar I added to that 4 ounces of butter. But now is the time that it's going to start caramelizing. And it's at this point right here where you need to keep an eye on it. So I'm going to bring you back when it starts to get a little bit browner. That'll be another 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 minutes. So I'll be back in that period of time right now. All right, this caramel sauce, you see how that's caramelized? And it looks like a little greasy, melty, it doesn't even look like sugar anymore. And it's ready to receive the cream. Now, when you add that cream, you add it in small doses because it's going to steam up. And be careful you don't get your hand burned. See, watch. See all that steam coming up there? But one of the neat things about this sauce is it's going to make a transformation right in front of your eyes now. It's starting to come together. It's starting to look like a big pile of brown glue now. And now, there we go. This is doing right what it's supposed to do. Now it's going to get to this very strange point here where the more cream you're going to add to it, the darker it's going to get. Now that sounds strange. It sounds almost backwards. But just watch it now. It's a little magical now. It's starting to come together a sauce. Now you see that? Look at that. It's almost 100% sauce now. There's still some separation left in it. But it's coming along really well. Now it's getting darker as I add more cream to it. It's not because it's caramelizing more. It's just there's something about the effect that the cream has on this combination that makes it darker. Look at that. Look at that. Now we got caramel sauce in there. Look at that. All right, I'm going to pull this off the fire a little bit now. Add a pinch more cream. Whoop, a little more than a pinch. That's all right. The formula for the amount of cream is really all about the texture of the sauce that's boiling in front of you in the pan. When you get it to where you want it to be, which is that sauce consistency, which is where that is. All right, now if you can just back up a little bit now, Richard, we'll pour this right through the strainer while it's hot. I'm going to get it off the fire. I'm going to pour it right in here. Excuse me. Let me just grab a ladle here so you can see what this looks like. Look at that. That is nice. There's your caramel sauce. Now this you can refrigerate. And you want to pull back a little bit, and I can tell my cooks there that are watching the video that this is a really nice sauce. You're really going to like it. And one more thing I want to warn you about. Do not put your finger in this right now to taste it because it's a little too hot. When I say you serve it as a warm caramel sauce, that's what I mean. You don't serve this as a hot caramel sauce because someone might burn their tongue. God forbid you don't want that. So there's your caramel sauce recipe in a nutshell. You have fun with this. You're really going to like this. I mean, think about it. Butter, sugar, cream. What's not to like, okay? I'm going to go find some bread pudding and put this on it for somebody else. Bye-bye.